So, good morning to all our Latin American partners, and good afternoon to the colleagues from the European University who decided to join us as well. And for those who don't know me, I am Barbara Silveri. I work for the International Relations at the University of Sassari, and I joined the DHIP project since last year. We will start in a few minutes our presentation. My colleague Tonito Solinas will take care of it. And we silenced all your microphones, so please do not activate them because there could be some technical issues. If you have any question or request of information, you can write it on the chat. During the presentation, I will monitor the chat and reply to you in case there should be any problem. And also, if you have any question during the presentation, just write it on the chat. And at the end of the presentation, we will answer to all of your questions. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And now I give the floor to my colleague Tonito, who will make the presentation. Enjoy.
Okay. Just a piece of information about me. I've been collaborating with the International Relations Office for some years now, and I moved for a brief period of time to the Rector's office, and I was exposed to a number of issues connected to internationalization. So I'm here to share my experience and this information about the office, the internationalization of universities, and also my personal experience in some of these issues. Let's start. Okay, so the first part of this presentation, which is divided into 3 parts, focuses on how to design mobility flows. Mobility, as you know, is a means to reach an internationalization level, greater level of internationalization of the whole university. So it's not something connected only to the movement of people and in particular students, but it provides tools also to develop and strengthen the operation of the whole university. Now, I believe that, as we did some years ago, the first step to design a proper mobility framework for the university is to pay attention to the organization of the International Relations Office. I believe that the organization of our universities might be different, and I know that some people have a greater capacity and a greater number of people serving in the International Relations Office, but I think that the structure is more or less the same. This is what we usually expect an International Relations Office to focus on. As a general rule, and in most of the countries, there are 4 great areas where the office deals with problems. The first area is, as you can imagine, in institutional relations, so the development of agreements and honing and development of relations with other countries, and also networking. And networking is a great part of the activity that an international relations office and a rector's office focus on. And networking, in our experience and in the experience of a lot of our partners, not only has to do with direct contacts with the university and other partners, but also the membership and the involvement in activities of international networks. As most of you must be, being a member of an international network provides great benefits to the university in terms of coordination with other partners. Mobility programs is a great part of the activities developed by the office. Mobility programs meaning incoming and outgoing mobility flows for students, but also for staff members. As you know, the staff members including faculty members, so professors, and researchers, but also clerical staff, administrative staff. That is a important part of the activities that should be developed by the IRO. There are some programs in our university, but I'm pretty sure also in your universities, focusing on visiting professors and scholars. In our case, the project has a unit dedicated to it, but I believe that the International Relations Office as a whole should focus also on the promotion and support to this kind of activity. Talking about support, it is very interesting to see two great areas where the IRO focus its efforts. One is the support to project development. For some 20 years now, we have all been exposed to project development. So project development is a very critical part of the activity because it involves some critical steps connected, for example, to language skills or technical skills. I don't know if in your university this applies also, but this university, the University of Sassari, is now reflecting upon the development of the technologist professional profile. So creation of a specific expertise in the creation and support of project development activities. An important part of this support activity is also what we call context analysis. In some cases, it is very important before embarking in new projects and before starting joint activities with other countries also to analyze the context where our professors and students will be living, will be experiencing. So the analysis of the daily routine for academic staff and for students is a critical part of the support that an international relations office should provide. We also have an interesting part of support that should be provided by the IRO, which is a support to the development of educational and training programs for other units. In our case, and I'm pretty sure this is the case also for most of you, the development of joint degrees or double degrees or international windows for university courses is something that is more connected to the education department and to higher education and postgraduate education departments. But it is indeed very interesting to see how beneficial the IRO support could be also to these departments. Some international relations office also provide support to other sectors to promote the recruitment of international students, degree-seeking students, but also mobility students. So these are the four parts that we are, in addition to accounting, which is also an important part. So these are the areas where we believe that an international relations office should focus on to provide support. It is indeed very interesting to understand the importance of a proper organization of the office, because we are not only talking about the office, but the creation of a system around the office support international mobility programs. I spent a few words about accounting because one of the problems that we saw and that we managed to solve through the IRO here in Sassari is spending capacity. Spending capacity might indeed be a problem and also have a negative effect on the internationalization of the university, because an impaired capacity may result into poor performance of the whole university. Spending money and knowing how to spend money according to the rules of the programs that we join is extremely important and critical. So I believe that because the scenario is very complex, we need to pay some and to spend some brain work, okay, to properly and carefully planning the organization of the office. And also, I believe that facilitating the creation of a safe environment for the projects may also secure the success of projects. In order to do so, we need, as you know, and we've been listening to this for a lot of time. We need to strengthen and to deepen our understanding of hard and soft skills, but we'll see this later. Relations are very important also within the university and within the system where we operate. So the critical points of project development and also the organization of internationalization activities is the relations with people. So nurturing these relations is one of the key factors which can secure success. I wish to spend a few words on this because we are used to focus on regulations, to focus on rules. So both are national and local regulations and laws and rules. But sometimes we don't pay enough attention to the interactions which are connected to the activities that we perform. So interaction with partners, with our departments or faculties, the interactions and the needs of our students, and also the interaction with third parties. There are a bunch of stakeholders, as we call them, which are involved in a way in our international activities, which do not have an active role in the promotion of these activities, but are but which are important parts of the system. So local institutions, companies and firms where, for example, our students spend some of their training time, NGOs providing support in development cooperation, or funding bodies to nurture contacts and relations with those who give us money is very important. And why not also the student families? Our students, being university students, are all grown up. Still, the role of the families, in our case, in Italy, but I believe in the rest of Europe and also in South America, is critical. So paying attention to the needs of these stakeholders is extremely important to have a successful implementation of our policy. This is not clear as a slide, but is just to give you an idea that the International Relations Office is but a piece of the mechanism that can secure the success of our activities. And I'll explain every piece of this mechanism as we go on. So the International Relations Office in general manages the publication of calls and grants for our students. And they also provide support for the incoming students and staff. But this is not all. We've seen in our experience that creating a system around the IRO is critical to success. The first piece of this mechanism, which is very important, is a director's delegate for the international affairs, because it's that piece of the mechanism that connects the IRO with the governance. It provides support, so provides the guidelines through which we should operate, and also help implement the whole international strategy of our university, and including also the new lines of development for our activities. We've seen that having also a set of flexible, but a set of rules, internal rules for the assignment of grants and the access to the benefits which are available to mobility students is a very effective to implement our activities. In our experience, we've seen also that having a central university mobility committee, a group of people involved in the management of mobility flows, gathering in one single committee is very beneficial. In our case, the mobility committee, central mobility committee, includes the representatives of the faculty members, so the representatives of our faculties or departments, but also the administrative staff that is involved in the organization of mobility flows, and also student representatives are involved. As a general rule, the universities are required to have a number of student representatives collaborating with the managing bodies, And we believe that also including this kind of representation in the Central Mobility Committee would be beneficial, and it was indeed. The same structure, so the University Mobility Committee, is also duplicated at the faculty level. In this way, we are able to monitor in a very effective way also the development of relations between each agreement coordinator and the partner coordinator in the other country. We've also included the University Language Center in this great mechanism, because being a central office at our university and in most of the universities, it can provide a cross-sectoral support to provide language courses for students and also to test the language proficiency for the assignment of grants. We have three pieces of this mechanism which have proven to be very effective in the past. In our university, we've had for a long time, and it was required by the law, and a student ombudsperson. It's basically a professor or a retired professor, like in our case, who is in a way provides support to students who cannot solve critical problems through the standard services that the university provides. So we thought that developing this kind of approach also for incoming students could be interesting. In a way, for the students, it feels like there is a special, in a way, a special attention and understanding of their issues, being away from their home country and their families for a long time. So there is a single ombudsperson, so supporter, let's say, for incoming students. And in each department, in each faculty, we also developed a sort of help desk specific for incoming students, usually including a member of the administration or students who provide support to them. The connection with students is very important to secure success in this organization. We found that it was very beneficial to hone the relations with student associations. So we, at the University of Sassari and in a lot of universities around Europe, there are the so-called ESN networks, so Erasmus Student Network Associations. But we've been collaborating with other associations managed by local students for a long time, and that is helping a lot, in particular to, in a way, to curb problems at the very beginning of the mobility period. Okay, so these are 9 pieces of a mechanism that has proven to be very effective in our case. But as we talked before, there is an important part of the activities of the IRO that cannot be performed by other people other than the IRO staff. And this is why it is very important also to focus on the qualifications and in a way, the features of the staff involved in this office. At the University of Sassari, we've designed a number of public calls for competition to hire staff, had very basic but important requirements for the IRO staff. As a general rule, we chose to focus on people who had a degree, at least a first level degree, so the first 3 years of university courses. And the reason is that it was very important to have people working in an IRO which had been exposed in the past to these activities. Oral and written language skills in at least one foreign language was the basic requirement. To be honest, we published a couple of calls also requesting and requiring the use of a second language at least medium level, and basic IT skills. And we provided extra points in the competition for any experience, let's say any work or training experience in an international relations environment, service at the university or any other institution involved in international activities. So the people having these characteristics do have their own skills, soft skills, language skills, and hard skills, which must be in a way supported and developed further to make sure that the work at the IRO is effective. Okay, not focusing on the professional development of people involved in this kind of office could actually have a negative effect on a number of activities which are not connected directly to the IRO. So just a couple of words about these skills. As you know, hard skills are basically technical knowledge, very specific, sector specific. It can be developed through training. In soft skills, more of, let's say, natural abilities, which are in a way cross-sectoral, that is not specific for any kind of sector, and in a way they are related to emotional intelligence. This is a word in emotional intelligence that we've been listening to for a long time now, and the university, for example, provides courses to heads of staff and heads of offices focusing on emotional intelligence. And there is I believe that in addition to these two kinds of skills, there is also a set of skills, which is language skills, which is in a way a mix of the two, because it is true that they are learned through training, but the natural ability and predisposition of people to speak other languages is something that it is hardly learned in class, at school. So this is something that is very interesting to see, because it is very common for staff at the university to change office after a while, but it's very important to give the opportunity to people who have natural abilities in languages and intercultural dialogue to be exposed to this kind of activity. So some recommendations that we've been enjoying for some time now and been sharing with our partners for a long time. There is a way to train hard skills, and this is a number of environments where they can be developed. Writing is a good way to learn how to write in particular projects, and testing scenarios is a very interesting approach. We've been having some courses focusing on that, on simulation, let's say. We've seen the benefits of it in our education in several contexts. Just to mention one, in medicine, we've been working on this kind of approach to education for a long time. And we've been applying this also to our professional development. And an interesting thing is also that coaching junior staff or trainees is an exceptionally effective way also to focus on the activities that we do on a daily basis, and to reflect upon a better way to carry them out. Okay, so coaching junior staff and trainees is a good way also to develop our own skills. And soft skills are connected to communication and teamwork, also adaptability, and being exposed to these activities is a good way to also to develop professionally. Before we go on, there is a number of stakeholders and activities which, in our experience, we've been developing, and also our partners have developed, to make sure that the internationalization of university activities is not something that only has to do with IRO stuff. But the IRO is part of a mechanism that is, in a way, spread across the university. So, in order to support and develop, also increase the number of mobility students, and in a way strengthen the mobility flows of the university, both incoming and outgoing mobility flows, we've seen that it is extremely important to pay some extra attention to the services we provide. There are some services which have been included in a way in a university in our university system for a very long time, but the organization of universities is different from country to country. So I would like to share some information about what we do or our partners have done so far. So, accommodation is clearly one of the critical points of a successful management of international flows. I'm talking about this because some of your universities would probably be campuses. Okay, so possibly some of you manages accommodation facilities in your own universities. This is not the case for everyone. In our case, for example, the students' halls are usually run, managed by external organizations, in our case, public organizations. And so it's not something that we decide upon, but we try to interact with them to, in a way, support our students to gain access to these accommodation facilities. There have been in the past some restrictions because the rules of access to these services have changed. And so we've been working also on the collaboration and cooperation with companies, private companies, NGOs, and other associations, private associations to find suitable accommodation places for us. Certainly, accommodation is a critical part of the coming mobility flows. What we've seen is that facilitating access to residencies and student halls is extremely important also to increase, in a way, the financial benefits that the university has from other institutions. In our case, for example, we try to facilitate incoming mobility offering and one-night stay in a hotel or a bed and breakfast facility on the day of the arrival. Some of the students come to Italy without already having yet an accommodation. So they come here, they spend some time here in a B&B or a hotel, and then in the meantime, they look for a place to stay. So in order to help them, we try to organize one-night stays in hotel and B&B for free for them. It's a small investment in a way, but it proved to be very helpful for them, and we believe that it was also one of the pieces that in a way secured the success of our incoming mobilities. Another very important part of the incoming student management is what we call a buddy program. We collaborate with some student associations to provide help to incoming students, to be honest, to international students in general, because this is extended also to them. And there are some fully fledged funded programs such as the buddy system for the Erasmus Student Network Association. But the same type of approach is extended to all non-national students. So the buddy system is a very interesting approach because not only does it provide practical help, but it's also a way to also access, in a way, social relations for incoming and outgoing students. What we try to do is when we join in partnership with other universities, it's also to make sure that there is a equivalent or at least similar system for our students abroad. And we've seen that this kind of approach is increasing more and more. We found it very hard to deal with non-European students before we started to provide support also to them for visa purposes. In addition to providing the documents required by the student for the issuing of the visa, we also provide support, for example, like physical, to accompany them to the police stations or the offices of the Ministry of the Interiors when they request a permit of stay for longer periods of time. Most of the exchange students who come from let's say overseas do not spend more than 1 year in our country, but they still need a permit to stay, and they are frequently checked also by the intelligence services of our country. So it's very important to see that they are not alone, but they are in a way part of the university system, and we provide assistance to them through the International Relations Office. Now, another important part of the support, the service that the IRO provides to the departments and faculties is the support to draft learning and training agreements. I put two pictures here, which are in a way not correct, fully correct. These are a training agreement and a learning agreement from the Erasmus program, but it's more or less the same also for the rest of the programs. What we do is that we don't let faculty members or the departments in general manage these kind of documents on their own, but we try to suggest the best way to implement this kind of activities. And for this reason, we provide support in the actual drafting of the study plan, making sure that faculty members and the departments have direct contact with the other partners abroad before they agree and they sign this kind of document. Now, in the past, we've reflected upon the opportunity to offer language courses to exchange students, well, to sell language courses to exchange students, which is also part of the mission of the university, also organizing paid language courses. But we saw that the benefits of language courses provided for free to exchange students was much higher than the economic benefits. So providing language courses is a way to also bring people together, and so providing local language courses to incoming students before they arrive, as soon as they arrive, and providing foreign language courses to outgoing students before they leave this country is also a way to bring them closer to the culture where they will be exposed to. Okay. So we've talked about accommodation, buddy program, visa, support to learn agreements, the language courses. Language courses, one thing that is very interesting is that a crash course, usually between 30 and 60 hours of language course at the very beginning of the mobility experience is indeed beneficial, but so that let's say a second stage course during the year, maybe intermediate level, is also very useful to students. So we try to provide, in our case, we try to provide this course as frequently as we can. Now, I wanted to share with you an interesting experience. As you might know, the Erasmus program, in our case, promotes student mobility, incoming and outgoing student mobility, but and also outgoing training mobility. But there is no program to funnel, in a way, to bring together opportunities for incoming training mobility. So the University of Sassari developed some years ago now, I believe that's something like 5 years ago, maybe. Yeah, some 5 years ago, we developed a program that we called Erasmus Traineeship in Sardinia. And basically, what we do, provide support to incoming students who are looking for training opportunities in the area in our case, in the area of Sassari, but let's say in the north of Sardinia. And we collaborated for this particular project with the municipality of Sassari and the Chamber of Commerce of North Sardinia. Being exposed to local working environments is extremely important because it gives you not only the let's say it's not just an opportunity to have an experience, a working experience in a company, but also to share day by day all the issues connected to running a company, a private company in another country. We extended this kind of program to some public institutions, some laboratories, for example, some offices connected to tourism, and also the management of the municipality also was included. But most of the opportunities are training opportunities in private companies. We found that it was very important to try and start this kind of approach because we saw the benefits of our students abroad. Some people connected to the International Relations Office, like Barbara in her case, had a very long experience in visiting other countries and finding a way to connect our students to companies abroad. There are benefits connected to this because the trainees which are enrolled at foreign universities but are visiting universities are in a way officially included in the student population. So they can spend some of the time also attending courses and taking exams. So they do have a training experience in a private company, but they also have access to the benefits of enrolled students. They have access to the canteen, they have access to the libraries, but they are exposed to daily life in a company. So they improve their language skills, requiring less and less any language courses whatsoever at a later stage. And they also develop professional skills. Some of the students who had this experience then developed professional activities later on. Now, there is a benefit also for us where we improve. This is a fact. We improved the attractiveness of our university. We saw an increase in the number of incoming students because this kind of approach became quite popular among our partners. And also we, in a way, we deepened our understanding and our collaboration with local entrepreneurs. In a way, we developed something that we did not have and that is very popular, I believe, in South America, which is extension. So we didn't have any program devoted to that. But the Erasmus traineeship in Sardinia proved to be very effective to compensate a lack of organization for the strengthening of the relations with our entrepreneurial fabric. Now, being paid not paid by being supported by Erasmus grants, trainers, so the hosting companies did not have to bear any cost. They had also an opportunity also to internationalize as companies. Now, this is a very critical point because we could not apply this system everywhere with our partners. As you may know, in some countries, trainees must be paid by companies. And so even if they do have access to educational grants or university grants, they still have to be paid, even in small amounts of money, but they still have to be paid by the hosting company. So this is something that has to be considered before starting this kind of program. Now, I will not dwell on this anymore. What we wanted to do is to provide some advice, in a way, sharing some good practices that were acknowledged and certified by national and transnational organizations. So we are, in a way, eager to share with you also. We believe that they worked very well. First of all, everything that I share with you in this section is not covered by any copyright. Stealing good practices is something that is very welcome here. This is how we experienced a steady increase in international mobility in the past. And strangely, we are still experiencing, after some 10 years, over 10 years, still increasing the number of people involved in international mobility. Some good practices. Recognition is extremely important. As you know, when we accept to join the Erasmus program or any other program promoted by international institutions, we tend to agree that all the activities that our students do abroad will be recognized by the department or the faculty board. This is not fully true because, as you know, in some cases, we, as universities, we tend to recognize partially or either fully or partially the activities done abroad. Now, this is something that we should pay attention to because, indeed, even if we agree with the learning program or the training program that our students do abroad, some of our courses are organized in different ways, and so we do require some additional and extra, let's say, an extra effort from our students. But something that has to be considered is to, since the very beginning, is to understand if we want to consider international mobility for our students or our staff in general as an addition to their workload or a replacement of their workload. So if there is something that it is beneficial for them, and so we add it to the program that we do, or we fully replace pieces of the program with the activities carried out abroad. Now, this is very important to understand that the trend now in the European Union, as some of you may know, is to fully replace the activities included in the learning agreements with activities which should not be taken again by the students as they come back to their home country. So this is the trend, but it is indeed something that is flexible in a way. So you're free to decide on this. Mobility certification is a very important tool to secure the success of mobility flow, because as most of us are doing now, that certification becomes a fully fledged part of the educational and professional profile of the students. So for both grant beneficiaries and zero grant beneficiaries, it is very important to make sure that the activities performed abroad are fully certified by the university. I also suggest that you consider to certify also extracurricular activities. If The students are involved in social activities promoted by the university or by the student associations or by NGOs. It's something that is becoming more and more popular also for recruiters. So that is something they should be pay attention to. Now, mobility is an added value. One good practice that we were recognized by the European Union is that we treated mobility as an added value, and we tend to promote participation to mobility programs through the publication of reports or summaries of reports. In our country, we have an organization that is called Alma Laurea. It's an organization focusing on alumni, so former university students, and they publish a report annually on student employability. So it is it has become more and more popular over the years, and it's very important to see the results of student employability when the student has experienced international mobility. Alma Laura showed that there is a direct connection between the willingness of companies to hire people who had an international experience abroad during their university career. So this is something that we promote more and more, and it's being recognized by the European Union. Also, a very interesting part is staff mobility. Staff mobility, as you know, is not only connected to teaching activities, but also to the professional development of people involved in the International Relations Office, or in any case, in international activities. So we suggest, we advise and suggest more and more to include the certification of this experience only in terms of only when evaluating the professional profile of a staff member, and take into account that experience for progression in their career. Now, we've had two interesting results since we receive funds from the regional governments, so not national government, but the regional government of Sardinia, to support student services. We decided to invest some of that money to provide support to cover, in a way, or partially, travel costs and cost of stay during the period of mobility to students. And we managed to provide an advance payment to students, so they receive part of the money, usually 80% of the grant, in advance before they leave the country. This was critical because it proved to be very useful for low-income students, also students coming from low-income families who were in a way secluded from participating in this kind of programs because simply their families did not have enough money to advance to them and make sure that they started their experience before they received the grant from the university. So now we tend to pay part of the grants in advance to support them in this way. And as you know, there are also other sources of funding for mobility. You know well, being part of a program that is supported by the European Union, and these kind of funds can supplement, because they are compatible with regional and other governmental funds. So seeking extra funding from international or transnational organizations is critical. Now, we provide some extra money also to deserving students. We keep a small amount of money at the end of the year that we are able to evaluate the whole mobility population, so all the students that participate in the programs, and to check their credit to month ratio and the travel costs that they had to pay, the cost of stay in the country, and to the best students of the year, those who had the greatest number of university credits awarded on a monthly basis, they receive an extra amount of money at the end of the year. Feedback is also very important. Having questionnaires proved to be very useful to improve the services offered to students. In our case, both the incoming and the outgoing students are required to fill a final online questionnaire to, let's say, to conclude, to end their mobility experience. So collecting this kind of information is very important, and it might not be results be in a way misleading if we take into account the individual opinion of a student, but in the lot, if we analyze all the results collected, it gives us the idea of a trend. Okay, so we collect information about a trend, and we manage to understand in a better way how to develop a better service. Now, the involvement of students is critical. Most of the times, if the first couple of weeks are not, let's say, they don't go smoothly, the students tend to have a bad impression about their experience, and they tend to not to enjoy, even in a long run, they don't enjoy their experience abroad. So for this very critical moment, we decided to make an agreement with student associations so that the other students body or the bodies pick students up at the airport or the train station when they arrive, and they help fill all the forms. They organize social and cultural events. And we support them also organizing welcome days and welcome week at the university. So the involvement of peers is very important. So keep this in mind when you ask for feedback. And if you see that the feedback is not positive, maybe it's also because they did not have the feeling of being in a way welcomed at the university at the very beginning. I think we can skip this communication and dissemination, where we all know, but we keep this for reference. There is a benefit for our universities if we in education fairs and we improve visibility. But the important thing is to facilitate access to information. So when you decide, or when we decide in general to participate in these events, it's very important also to plan and to develop tools and products such as guides can be used in these events, which are clear and understandable by the students. Now, the last part, I think we have some 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Try to be as quick as possible. Now, we have developed, as we said, tools and processes to streamline the process of mobility, to makes it easy for people to access mobility programs. First reflection is just to take one step after the other and to focus on quality rather than on quantity. If we need to boost mobility flows, the number of people involved is not relevant unless the quality of service that we provide is at least reasonable. Okay, it's better to start with a small number of people, but focusing on the effectiveness of the actions that we take. An important step in doing so is to check course compatibility, to support and to collaborate with faculty members and to check whether the course that we provide in our country, in our university, is compatible or similar or equivalent to other courses abroad. And also take into account, consider opting for courses which are fully or partially or duplicated in English. Those courses are designed to be accessible to people. So if we have the chance, try to focus on that. Because as in most of the countries applies, the courses will be held in national languages, and a small number of courses are provided in an internationally known language. Okay? This is the goals for this kind of activity is clearly to guarantee the successful completion of the mobility and the process of the recognition. If we spend more time at the very beginning to check course compatibility, we don't run the risk of recognizing partially the activities provided abroad. At the end, the benefit will be for both the student and the university. And promote staff mobility before sending our students or receiving students from a partner institution is vital. Staff mobility is an occasion to analyze and compare the systems and to discuss the courses that the students have to take and to adjust in a way those courses, providing additional materials, for example. It provides a complete overview of the services, and also it provides an insight about the practices that as an international relations office we have and we implement. So this is it. So promoting staff mobility to set up the academic agreements is extremely important. Now, it's also very important to pay attention and to promote also among our students the ECTS system. So we use the European Credit Transfer and Accumulation System to convert activities that we do abroad into local university credits. As you know, this ECTS system is shared also by institutions which are not based in Europe, but which found it beneficial also to include this system in their own country. It is extremely important before we start the mobility flows to include in the agreement the reference to the recognition system that we have in our country. Now, but which agreements can be implemented? Now, in our experience, there are basically 4 agreements which can be signed and enter into with other institutions. Some of them are not useful per se, not useful, but we don't find it useful at the moment because we need a more practical approach to international agreements, but it's worthwhile to pay attention to them. Now we have the letter of intents, which are basically a first step for the definition of an agreement. As you know, it's an expression of willingness to operate, not binding, and usually they are preliminary to a proper agreement. In the past, this was very useful because in the past the management of this kind of activity was often assigned to people who were not the legal representatives of the university. So a letter of intent was the first step towards an international cooperation agreement. Now, the memorandum of understanding, which sounds more or less the same, is something that is more formal, and it's something that usually the the result of some kind of cooperation or collaboration at faculty level, which is ongoing. So it's going on. It's been going on for some time, and it's now a stable connection. So we need to sign an agreement approved by the academic bodies and signed by the representative, the legal representative of the university, which is a rector or a president or a chancellor, depends on the system. Now, what we tend to promote at the moment at the University of Sassari. We tend to focus on what we call framework agreements. The structure of these agreements is sound. They are more complex than a simple letter of intent, and they include a description of collaboration activities. It's usually connected also to the implementation of specific actions. So what we tend to do now is we tend to focus on international cooperation framework agreements to provide every faculty and every department the opportunity to start a collaboration with the equivalent faculty or department in the other partner university. Now, and as you know, we also have interinstitutional agreements within the Erasmus Plus program, which is more specific for mobility. As you know, it includes exchange flows, so students and staff, and quality requirements, and the agreement is signed if the funding is provided by the European Union. Okay? What we can do now before we finish this conversation is to spend a few words, so 4 slides, on the regulation or the guidelines that we have developed at the University of Sassari to regulate and promote international mobility. Let's say there are 2 great sections which the process of mobility grant assignment is divided into. And a part focuses on managing mobilities and defines the partners involved. It defines the roles of the stakeholders involved. It sets the transparency of the procedure. Now, the management of the mobility is a step further because what we have to regulate and focus more and more is the selection of students. Now, we have to secure that is impartial. The assignment of grants is impartial. We have to set requirements, pre-requirements for the participation of students to grant calls, and we also have to define beforehand the selection criteria. Now, because we have to find a balance between these two great areas, we decided to develop a single document at the university to regulate these aspects. If our goal is to boost international students' mobility, what we need to do is to define the people who are responsible for international mobility selection and who are responsible for the management of the funds. It is very important also to understand and to set and to include in the regulation who are the participants to international student mobility and the specific activities which have to be implemented abroad. Now, let's see this in detail. How do we set impartiality and how do we define transparency in this kind of document? Now, the selection criteria have to be defined beforehand. Who can apply to a mobility grant at the university? They have to be university students, so the registration to courses is compulsory. They have to be regular in the payment of university fees and taxes. So there must be no pending payment for them. And also they have to be regular students. The progress, the number of exams and university credits must be complied with. So there is a set of requirements which must be spelled out in the selection, in the call for grants. This is very important because access to mobility programs must be secured to those students who fully comply with the rules and regulations of the university, and failure to comply with these rules should hinder their participation to mobility flows. This gives the idea and underlines the idea that the university may grant access to interesting opportunities to those who comply with the rules. So at the very beginning, it would be maybe a limited number of students will apply, but as students comply more and more with local regulations, the mobility flows will increase. And this was our experience in the past. When we talk about selection criteria, I think it is very important to spell out in the call for grants that candidates, so that applicants will not be selected upon their membership or their participation to a specific group, or their ethnicity, or their religious beliefs, or their sexual orientation or political opinion. I say this because in some countries, well, in some universities, these sort of these sort of criteria and non-discrimination criteria are spelled out in university regulations, but this does not apply to everyone. So we believe that in order to give the idea that impartiality and transparency are the very basis of the selection of the selection process, spelling out non-discrimination criteria in the call for grants is extremely important. The set of rules or guidelines and regulations that we have set for international mobility also include a set of procedure that will be followed by the office and the departments to grant the mobility scholarship. For example, the number of credits awarded to the students and the average points awarded in the exam, and the consistency of the educational or the training or educational activity with the course where they are enrolled. The level of language proficiency, so the language level that they have, certified language level that they have, should be included in this set of procedures, because they have to be evaluated by the faculty board or the departmental board. Also, disseminating these specific requirements and specific criteria for the assignment of grants is a good way also to develop a culture of international mobility culture that in time will provide great benefits to students, but also to the university as a whole. Developing these guidelines and regulations for international mobility proved to be very beneficial also, let's say, at a number of levels, because these guidelines and regulations were approved by the governing bodies of the university, and therefore it was shared by the whole university. It gives the idea that mobility flows are not only a collateral activity or a collateral benefit that students or faculty members or staff members have, but it's part of the whole university experience. certifying in a way this transparency, this impartiality approach towards the assignment of mobility grants is also a way to make mobility flows part of the whole university experience, both studying experience and working experience. So these are some suggestions and some good practices that we want to share with you. I hope it was interesting for you, and I hope that it could be useful also to further reflect upon the proper organization of the International Relations Office to boost international mobility. Align in a way and harmonizing our approaches to international mobility and to the management of mobilities, I believe is very could be very beneficial for all of us. And sharing information and results is also very important. I will ask my colleagues to share with you all also a small publication that we do every year to keep track of the developments and to keep track of the successes and failures that we've had over time in international mobility management. I think that kind of publication, which is an internal publication for the university, could be interesting for you to see that if you keep track over time of your failures and your successes, you can actually make sure that even if people change, even if new stuff is involved, even if people, students change and new type of students are included, success can be promoted over time in a steady way. Okay, thank you very much, and I give the floor to my colleague Barbara to see if there is something you want to add.
Okay. So I saw that there is a request on further information on the Key 107 program. It is actually called International Credit Mobility, and it's a program that allows the European universities to make partnership with countries outside the Erasmus basin and promote mobility of students, staff, and teachers. The Erasmus program usually lasts for 7 years, and we are at the end of the Erasmus Plus program, which will finish in 2021. So next call, which will be in February, will be the last chance to participate to this kind of program. And usually it's the European partner who should apply to the call and make like a network of contacts with certain universities, and through this network apply and propose a program of mobilities together with the partners. So if you are interested in this, we can of course discuss it further, and we can exchange information and other like documents and papers. Thank you to those who are thanking us for the presentation. As a Latin American university, you can participate to this program, to the Erasmus Key 107 action, through a European partner. It is the European partner who should apply for the call. You just have to promote cooperation, international cooperation with a European partner, and create a network of universities in different countries of Latin America. So if there are not any other questions, I would like
I see that
somebody is writing, so far so good. Okay, just for your information, I will participate to the study visits in Pisa. So for those who will participate, I will see you in like 10 days time. And for all the rest, I hope to see you in another occasion. I think that Tonito would like to share something else with you. And hope to see you very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wish to say just one thing. I believe that the size of the universities where we work is different. Okay, so the idea is that regardless of the so regardless of the size of the university, what we try to apply to our university seems to work. I tell you this because our university is a medium-sized university with around 12,000 students. But by applying this approach to mobility flows, we managed to increase the number of mobility students almost to what we call great size university. The idea is that if you apply this approach spread all over the departments and the faculties, you can actually step by step reach great numbers, and I believe that that could be useful for everyone. So thank you very much for listening to us. And
yes, and what we can also say is that it's enhancing and boosting mobility is not so difficult. We are a proof that it's not so difficult because we are in an island which is not very well known in the world. We are in the middle of the Mediterranean. We have a medium-sized university, and we do a lot of mobilities incoming and outgoing, notwithstanding all these issues, let's say. So if you just if you want, you can do it. Of course, there is a lot of work to do, but there are also a lot of great satisfactions. So I hope to see you in Pisa, and for all the rest, bye-bye for the other meetings. Bye.
Bye.